Hello champions, and welcome to a long-awaited and much requested episode. Today we'll be showing you how to turn your physical cards into digital ones. Think of the movie Tron, but for cardboard. First up, try and find a place with plenty of soft, natural light. Outside works best, preferably on a slightly cloudy or overcast day. You want to avoid direct light sources to stop glare and make sure your phone or chunky tablet doesn't cast a shadow over your cards. And if you are foolish enough to do it next to a window, then make sure it isn't windy. You don't want your founder's foils ending up gone with the wind. Boot up your app, then click on Scan Cards. This is the same for both Android and iOS versions. At the bottom of the screen, you will have a button on the left saying Auto Claim On. We are going to turn this off to show you manually claiming individual cards first. Point your screen at the card and the app will recognize there is a card present by the rectangular black border. It will then examine the face of the card and compare that with the database to determine which card it is. Next, it scans the notches around the edge of the card to determine which unique copy of that card it is out of tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of copies. Starting at the beginning of the alphabet, here we have Arcane Bolt. Bam! Look how quick that was. You can see it has recognized it as the neutral card Arcane Bolt. And if you look closely, there is a tiny sliver of the artwork in the background just to make sure. We want to add this card to our collection, and there are 3 ways to do this. Tap on the card image on the screen as it's prompting you to do so. Tap on the big green claim button under the card name, or hit Claim All. Let's tap on the screen, and as you can see, it instantly becomes ours. See the Owned By You text where the claim button was? The reason it doesn't list your username is to avoid confusion with similar usernames, particularly with the auto-suggestions for creating usernames relying on adding strings of numbers to words. We can see the card has also changed. Instead of the yellow for scanning, it turns to green for claimed. That spiky-headed lone silhouette means it is owned by us. The level 1 we will discuss in a future video, but the more copies of a card you scan, the higher its level becomes, which unlocks in-game rewards. Now leave the scanning screen and head to the card collection. On Android, use the button at the bottom of the screen. On iOS, use the card collection button at the bottom of the main page. If we click on the padlock to display unlocked cards, and then not forgetting to go to unlined cards, we can see a new card has appeared. You can tell it's new because of the large red exclamation mark. You can click on the picture for a close-up view. Note how it says we have 1 copy. Let's go back out, and if we scan it again, we can check that it is definitely owned by us. Bringing out the second copy from the starter, the app recognizes it as another Arcane Bolt, and we can tap to add it to our collection. Next up, we have 2 identical cards. The one on the left is in a sleeve. Providing the sleeve is clear and there is no direct glare, this should not be a problem. And as you can see, it isn't. So let's claim both of those by using the Claim All button. Now we will turn the autoclaim on and show you how that is different. This basically pushes the claim button for you as soon as it recognizes the card. Very handy if you are scanning in your collection for the first time. If there is a card you want to unclaim, just push the red minus button to the right of the card name and it changes to unclaimed. Even though autoclaim is on, it won't reclaim those declaimed cards automatically. You have to manually click to claim them now. So click on the screen to do so. Ready to scan some more cards? Let's try 4 at a time, shall we? If we keep the autoclaim on, it will do the work for us. When you are scanning multiple cards, make sure the black borders don't overlap so the software can recognize each distinct card. And there we have all 4 champions done. And you can check the list of items you have scanned and remove anything you don't want to. Let's double check our collection to make sure everything arrived safely. Again, the red exclamation mark highlights your new arrivals. So what happens when someone scans a card you have claimed? Let's try it with the iOS version. Back to those familiar Arcane Bolts. This time you can see the card stays yellow, and there are 2 silhouettes on the card. This double silhouette means that the card has been claimed by someone else. If you click on the card found strip, it will tell you who. Hey, that's us! And the grey plus button at the end allows you to add the cards owned to your friends list. This is a much easier way of adding your real-life buddies than having them type in an 8-digit code. Sometimes while scanning, the app will get confused over a certain card if it misreads the notches around the edge. This red warning state then appears. Simply point the camera away from your cards to allow the software to clear itself and try again. Right, let's start putting this thing through its paces. We have seen 4 cards, let's see how it copes with 6. 4 cards done right away. And if you want to help it out, remove the cards that have scanned successfully. This means the software doesn't need to work as hard. So what about 8 cards? Again, it easily recognizes that there are 8 cards present due to the black borders and starts claiming them. 8 cards is a struggle, so rather than have them all in frame at once, just move your device over them from left to right to make things easier. Look how fast this is, even with a phone in one hand and the other moving the cards about. Daylight is your best option where possible, but you may be indoors at a tournament or you could be a vampire. If you are trying to scan in a room with a single overhead ceiling bulb, then you will spend most of your time trying to figure out how to avoid your own shadow. It is possible, but very time consuming. If you have a wall-mounted or freestanding light, place the card underneath so the light source is at right angles to your device, and this works great. The best indoor lighting is a long fluorescent strip light that many people have in their kitchen. This is a soft, diffuse light, and even if it isn't that bright, you should still be able to scan with ease. We have now scanned an awful lot of cards, and we have some wisdom to pass on to you. Death cards are the hardest to scan, as they have the least contrast between the black notches and the dark grey border. Cards and sleeves take slightly longer for the app to recognise and are prone to glare. Foil cards will also be tricky to scan, and you will need to move your camera about to try and find the angle with the least reflection. Plus, foils are prone to curling, which deforms the shape of the card, so the notches don't line up with the measurements in the database. So try and hold your foils flat while scanning, or apply gentle pressure to the rear to straighten the card. Because each card is unique, the database knows which cards in your collections are foils, but at present there is no distinction being made between these and regular cards. If you are lucky enough to have a Founders Pack, you will want to scan these in ASAP. Even if you never intend to play the digital game, for your own protection, scan them in. You never know when these will end up in the background of a selfie, or which nefarious soul is standing behind you with their phone out whilst you're playing in a tournament. The bad news is these foils will be the hardest cards you have ever had to scan. Number 1, they are foil cards, meaning you get all sorts of glare and reflection, and it is almost guaranteed they will arrive bent. Number 2, the art is in black and white, meaning the app doesn't have any colours to work with to help identify the image. And number 3, if you are a collector or at some point may need to resell these to pay your rent, then you will want to keep them in their plastic wrappers, which puts you in a whole world of reflective pain. Remember how we told you the Death Faction cards were the hardest to scan? Well, your Founders Foil Nagash may drive you batty. Some people have posted on the official forums that they can't get their card to scan at all. This is us spending several minutes attempting to scan our champions. Order and Chaos were the quickest, then Destruction eventually, but Nagash took a long time. And when it did, we didn't see it had been claimed, as there was no fancy pop-up. Now, all being well, when you do finally claim your founding champions, they will have a separate entry in the database with black and white artwork and the gold faction logo. However, in some instances they convert to regular champions. PlayFusion is aware of the problem, and we will let you know if there are any developments. So that should be everything you need to know about scanning regular cards. But you may have noticed your faction summary card has scannable notches around the side too. If you do scan this, then the app opens up the rules page on the main website, which would be great if you didn't have to download a PDF. What's wrong with HTML, people? PlayFusion were kind enough to give us these goodies for free, and here at the Arkham Chronicle we believe that means we should share the love with you. Whilst we need to keep some to make videos with, you will find unclaimed cards scattered throughout our videos. And well done to the following people who have already found some. If you do find one, then let us know in the comments of that particular video, and we can unscan another card that appears in the video for someone else to have. Join us on the next video for everything you have ever wanted to know about booster cards but were too afraid to ask. Goodbye, champions!